This time, 9 years gone by. Summer, 1913. Gradual changes in Grover's Corners. Horses are getting rarer. Farmers are coming into town now in Fords. Everybody locks their house doors at night. There ain't been any burglars, but we've all heard about them. Well, you'd be surprised on the whole, things tend to stay the same around here. This is an important part of Grover's Corners. It's on a hilltop. A windy hilltop. Often a lot of sky and clouds. Often a lot of sun, moon, and stars, too. On a clear day, you can see range on range of hills, just how blue they are, up by Lake Sunapee, Lake Winnipesaukee, up there by the White Mountains and Mount Washington. Around it lie these towns, there's Jaffrey and North Jaffrey, Peterborough, Dublin, and up there by our favorite mountain, Mount Monadnock, there's Conway and North Conway. And way down there is Grover's Corners. It's a beautiful spot up here. Mountain laurel and lilac often make me wonder why people want to be buried in places like Woodlawn and Brooklyn. Well, they might as well come up spend the same time in New Hampshire. Well, these are the old stones. 1660, 1670. Strong-minded people came a long way to be independent. Summer folks come walking along laughing at the funny sayings on the tombstones. I guess they don't do any harm. Genealogists come up all the way from Boston, paid for by city folk to make sure that their daughters of the American Revolution and the Mayflower. Guess that don't do any harm either. Civil War veterans over here. Iron flags on their graves. New Hampshire boys. Had a notion the Union ought to be kept together, though they'd never seen more than 50 miles of it themselves. All they knew was the name, friends. United States of America. United States of America. And they went and died about it. Over here's the new part of the cemetery. There's Miss Gibbs, Mr. Simpson, the organist at the Congregational Church, and Miss Soames, who enjoyed that wedding so much, you remember. Oh, and lots of others. There's Editor Webb's boy, Wallace, whose appendix burst while on a Boy Scout trip from Crawford Notch. Yes, an awful lot of sorrow gets sort of quieted down up here. Relatives bring themselves up here just wild with grief and times. Rainy days, sunny days, snow. A lot of thoughts come up here day and night, and there ain't no post office. Now, there are some things that we all know, but we don't take them out and look at them very often. We know that something is eternal. And it ain't houses, and it ain't names, and heck, it ain't even the earth. We know something deep in our bones is eternal. And that something has to do with human beings. Greatest people ever lived. Been telling us that for 5,000 years, and yet you'd be surprised on how many people just let go of that fact. There's something eternal, deep down, about every human being. The dead don't stay interested in us living for very long. Gradually, they let go hold of the earth. And the ambitions they had, and the people they loved, things they suffered. Sure, they stay around for a while, but slowly they grow indifferent to what's going on in Grover's Corners. They get weaned away from the earth. That's the way I put it, weaned away. They're waiting. Waiting for something they feel is coming, something important and great. Aren't they waiting for that eternal part of them to come out clear? Sure, what they may say may hurt your feelings, but that's the way it is. Mother and daughter, husband and wife, enemy and enemy, money and miser. All those terribly important things just kind of grow pale around here. And what's left? What's left when memory's gone? And your identity, Mrs. Smith.